What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Silver Screen Shenanigans podcast. My name is Devin, and the question of the day is, if you had to choose between the first Doctor Strange movie and the second, which one would be your favorite? For me, I think the first one was pretty cool because, it was not really, different, as a formula of a superhero movie. They're an arrogant jerk. They get humbled. They find their powers, and they
get better.
They come to realize that there's more than just them. They fight a big bad, and then the movie ends. So, it's not different, really, the formula, but I think the abilities and, introduced to the multiverse and all that's pretty cool. But with that being said, I think there's a lot more of that going on in the second one. They really expand upon it. Things get darker, and there's a lot more. How do I want to say this?
Stakes, but
well, I guess you could argue stakes because it's Wanda's multiverse.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably that. Yeah. I'm probably going to go with the second one.
Yeah. I think my name's Riley. I think that's a really good answer. I like the second one a little more because it has that dark, almost kind of what I want to see in movies, you know? I want there to be an actual issue that is going on, and if they fail, it's over.
True. Which I think it makes you care significant.
Oh, definitely. With the first Doctor Strange, when they were fighting Dormammu, he had the time stone. All of it he could kind of reverse.
Control, yeah.
Yeah. Now, time stone is gone because this is post-Endgame.
Yep.
And time stone's gone. This is, if this happens, it's over. That's game. It's serious stakes, and I really, really enjoy that.
So this one opens up in, I guess some rift in time in space. I don't know, but you can tell by the just star on the back of her jacket. We can tell this is America Chavez. She's running with Doctor Strange? ?
Ice Doctor Strange.
They're running from this big monster who's we get that the monster's trying to absorb her power. And her power is pretty sick. She can I guess punch into the air, and it opens up this big star, and it she can jump through the multiverse. And I'm like, that's pretty sick.
That's really cool. But currently, she cannot control it.
Right. Yeah, otherwise they would just escape.
Yeah.
So in this other world's Doctor Strange, is containing the monster, but it had stabbed him. And as he's trying to hold it, he's it's too strong. So he's going to take America's power because, in the grand calculus of the multiverse, your sacrifice means, he got stabbed through the chest. Which I thought that was pretty cool because that's exactly what Doctor Strange said in No Way Home about those the other villains. So I think it shows how much of utilitarian that Doctor Strange is. He doesn't care if some things are sacrificed as long as the greater good are saved. But I think we'll see this change throughout this movie, definitely.
Yeah. It also shows that he has to be in control.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of this whole movie, is showing that he
wants to make the decision.
Wants to be, it's like Tony. He wants to be the sacrifice play.
I think what it means, he doesn't want to be the one that sacrifices himself. He wants to be the one who's enacting the plan.
Right.
Somebody else can sacrifice themselves, but but yeah, he wants to be the one who's the leader who
the one with the knife in his hand.
Basically.
Yeah.
So as that Doctor Strange is killed, she opens up a portal because she's killed. And then in that Doctor Strange like last act, he cuts the arms off of this monster thing, and she falls through the portal into our universe.
With the dead Doctor Strange.
Yeah, with the corpse.
And then we find out all of that was a dream that Stephen Strange had.
Yeah. Our Doctor Strange, he wakes up. He's like, oh, that was weird. And then he gets dressed. And he's going to Christine's wedding.
Yeah. Before I realized that it was a wedding, I thought it was a funeral. And
For who?
For
who?
Christine. Because they're like, it's just a shame you couldn't marry her. And I was like, oh my goodness, she's dead. But it's so much worse. She got married.
True. So
we really get to see him like truly at his lowest, because he has to watch the woman that he loves get married to somebody else because he was gone for 5 years.
And we get that talk with the doctor from the first movie where he was like, basically it's kind of a cool point, I think, where the doctor says we're kind of like talking about all of just like our regular humans, but like he basically kind of makes the point like, yeah, the superheroes weren't the only ones that got snapped. Like we all did too.
Yeah, that guy's 2 cats died.
And his brother.
Yeah, but he brought up the cats first, which I thought was kind of funny.
So yeah, they talk about how the relationship failed because of her holding the knife. Well, because of like
Steven
always him had to hold the knife, and she's like, I could respect you for it, but I could never love you for it. Which, oof.
Oh yeah.
And I think Strange is like pounding martinis at the bar, which I think is relevant to like the very next scene, where the monster, I guess known as Gargantos, is destroying the city. And it's I guess like after this girl who's running away. And so Strange like grabs the cape, does like a little clothes spell.
Dude, so cool.
As he jumps down.
He's like in full like suit and tie, instantly into his garb, and then goes after to save this kid.
And then that's what I love about, I think that's one of the things I really do like about this movie is we get to see more magic.
Yes.
He immediately opens up a portal, and like this dog monster jumps out, catches the car, and then like goes back to wherever it came from, and another portal he opened up.
Yeah. To
like save some people.
I think after he lost the time stone, I think he has some kind of monster magic. Because he then throws out Hydras later.
Well, we see like its purpose later of what the thing in his chest is for.
What?
I guess I'll let you know when we get there.
Sounds good.
Because
he still has that medallion,
yeah.
But there's no stone in it.
Yeah. So yeah, what's it there for?
Yeah.
Strange gets knocked out, and then the goat Wong shows up, and he tries to hold his own, but he gets like wrapped up in its tentacles as it's like climbing this building. Little wonky CGI here where Wong falls and like he opens up a portal, like he's falling to the ground. He opens it up. So he falls, and then he he
falls sideways,
yeah, and then like as he hits the car, you can tell that it's like, oh, that's not a person.
Yeah, that's the only bad CGI in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's just that I think that's why it's so glaring, is because like that's the only part where it's like, oh, so him and Wong, they like get
Steven wakes up.
Yeah, the cape was like, wait, no. First, the cape saved America,
Took her up to the top of the building.
Yeah.
And then got pinned underneath a
Yeah.
motorcycle.
So Strange wakes up. Him and Wong like create those like whips that they can do, and they start trying to pull on the monster. It doesn't really go that well.
I don't know what they expected. They're not Spider-Man. Their feet can't stick to the ground.
But then Strange has like that green fire that shoots up the whip thing, and then like it burns off one of its arms, and I'm like, do more of that.
Which again, that's like monster magic. Like that.
Monster magic.
Yes. Dude, he's got the cat head, because I think it was like a Sphinx cat.
I think he's just opening portals.
In his hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? It wasn't what?
He took the fire from, like, he made it in his hand, and then he threw it. Which makes me think that
I think it's just a spell. I think it's just a random spell. I think you're thinking about it too hard.
Okay. I just want him to be cooler than he is.
He's already pretty cool. He can do magic.
So can a magician.
Real magic.
So can a magician. Magic is real.
Okay.
See those card tricks? Dude, when they make the card disappear, I'm like, where'd it go? It's definitely gone.
They all have it. It's not real. It's not real.
You're lying. You're lying. Quit lying to me.
So they killed the thing because like they throw something into its eye.
Yeah, he uses his monster magic again to create hands that picks up a light pole and throws it at its eye.
Stabs it, and then like the pop as it like pulls it. I was like, oh.
It's like a suction cup.
So then they talk to America. Well, America steals Steven's sling ring and runs away, but then Wong has his, so it's like, what'd that do? They sit down and talk to her, and they kind of like get information of like where she's from.
Yeah.
We learned that Steven can't speak Spanish.
Every other Steven can. Like every other Steven she's met.
They talk about Spider-Man and how she's like, what's a Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man and spiders in our world, they shoot silk out of their butt, even though it's not really their butt. But so her first assumption is like, does it shoot webs out of his butt?
So this is where we get an an idea of what the spell really affected, because
which one?
The Doctor Strange spell from No Way Home, because he talks about recently had a multiverse thing with Spider-Man, and that's when they start talking about is he like part spider, part man? And he goes,
sort of.
I don't really know. But
yeah, so like he only knows Spider-Man.
Yeah, and he barely knows him because he knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Sad.
Yes.
But she says that it's not a nightmare that Doctor Strange had that morning. That was actually her, and that was actually a different Doctor Strange. And he goes, "Well, prove it." And so she shows him the corpse. And they're like, "Oh."
And then we get the line where he picks up the corpse and buries it, and they go, "That's got to be an ordinance or something."
Yeah,
Wong.
Wong.
Oh, I've buried worse. What does that mean?
What? What?
What is he buried?
Strange like understands that like this is kind of out of their area of expertise, and like they're getting the idea that like these monsters are being sent, but like they don't know by what or whom.
With runes.
Yeah.
So it's witchcraft. So he goes to the one witch that he knows,
Wanda Maximoff. And she's in a field like picking flowers and with some sheep.
Apple, yeah. She's in an apple orchard.
Yeah. Thing is, we haven't talked about the shows yet, but some of these shows come before the movies.
Yes.
And Wanda's story, there's a little bit like her story happened. There's a lot of quite a bit happens in her show before this movie.
That truly affects her character arc.
Yeah.
But we will talk about the shows once we are done with the movies up until recent.
So they're having friendly chat. Wanda says, "I figured you'd come talk to me about what happened at Westview," which is what happened in the show. And Doctor Strange is like, "You know what? I don't care about that right now. I need your help with the multiverse."
There's a kid, or he goes, "There's a girl that I need help with."
And you you and Vision had, your theories about the multiverse, and she goes, "Why don't you bring America here?" And she's like, "Oh, you never told me your name." Oh,
and she goes, the illusion was the easy part, the lying was the hard, and she like turns everything around her into dead. Everything's dead.
It's all red.
Yeah, dude.
Trees are dead. There's no sheep. Where'd the sheep go?
I want to know how far out did her illusion go?
So yeah, that's what I want to know. Where is this? Ohio?
There's nothing in Ohio, I'm pretty sure.
So she could do it in Ohio. So she reveals herself. I mean, we got to see it at the end of her show, but the Scarlet Witch suit, woo, like it looks so good.
Yes. It's pretty comic accurate.
Well, yeah.
Well, okay. It's not comic accurate.
For good reason.
Yes. But it is fairly close.
Yeah.
And in a really, really dark and cool way.
Yeah. And she has the Darkhold.
Yep.
Which she also got at the end of her show.
From
another witch.
She can like absorb it and put it back, which I don't think many other people can.
She's pretty cool. She's pretty cool. Yeah, so we realize immediately, oh, Wanda's the bad guy.
She's the bad guy.
Which I think is pretty cool though for her story, that how she's kind of become the bad guy. But she talks about how wouldn't you want to go to a universe where you're happy, blah blah blah. And like I think this is where it gets really interesting, is how I think she says, you break the rules and become a hero. I break the rules and am a monster or something like that. Two different scenarios, my girl.
I want to paraphrase what happened in WandaVision. Obviously, we'll talk about it more in the actual podcast. But in WandaVision, after Vision dies, she has a complete breakdown and creates an entire fake world in a small town,
holding 50 to 100 maybe people hostage.
Yes.
Under mind control.
Yeah. And she creates children.
And another Vision.
Yes. So children, Vision, all of that she made up.
And by the end of that show, she has to erase all of it.
Yes.
Kill all of it again. So double trauma.
This is that is what we're going to talk about the rest of this podcast, because that is her whole arc, is trying to get her children back.
Yeah, her fake children.
Yes. I just thought that would be important information.
Yeah. So she reveals herself as the one sending the demons, and she's like, "Yeah, that was Mercy." And I'm like, "Okay, Wanda, you're getting pretty cool here, but I need you to calm down." Like, that's really cool, but you need to calm down.
Stephen Strange tells her where they're holding America.
Yeah, well, because
America.
Yeah, before he knew she was a bad guy. He told her.
I got this girl
at Comertage.
At the Comertage.
Whoops.
It's like, come on, dude.
So yeah, we go back to Comertage, and yeah, America's like, so the person that's trying to kill me, you told them exactly where I am, and Doctor Strange goes, yeah. So Wanda shows up, and she again tries to like plead her case, and she talks about how, yeah, me sending those beasts was Mercy, and she goes, all this for a kid you met yesterday, and Wanda, all this for two made-up kids.
Two kids that don't exist.
But you can see as she takes on like Comertage, she is like, she has abilities that, well, I guess she does know she has, but like just outclass these other sorcerers.
Oh yeah.
At first she tries to like shoot a beam into, but it's like it has a barrier that's put up by a couple of her sorcerers. There's like 100 or so like other sorcerers plus Wong, Doctor Strange, and this Minotaur looking guy, which we
he's a student. He has like almost zero magic. You can see it the whole time. He's just
and
trying.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say he's not human.
Yeah, this is the first time we're introduced on Earth to things that aren't human, and they don't talk about it at all.
Just study magic, I guess.
It almost makes me think maybe it's from Shang-Chi. Like because they had those like ancient beasts there. Maybe this was a minotaur from there or something. But like,
I don't know.
They didn't mention it. I don't know who it is or what it is.
So they're holding up the barrier, but then Wanda looks through like all their minds of like the guards to see who's the weakest one.
Yeah, Wong goes, "Fortify your mind."
No duh, Wong. And she finds one, and she like gets close and like whispers, like all the music just goes silent, and like you just hear her whisper into his ear, "Run," and it's like, yeah, I'm running. And then he runs, and then like knocks into a bunch of other guys, and it's like then all the spells like, so then they start shooting like magic arrows and like contained like, I guess like condensed magic bombs that they shoot out of cannons.
Yeah.
And she's just like blocking them, picking them up, throwing them all over the place, and it's like, all right, retreat. It's
yeah. Well, you mentioned when we were watching it, you're like, he could have just ran without bumping anybody. Like he didn't have to hit everyone as he was running.
I guess bro was just mad scared.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
And so Wanda destroys Camartage, and she lands, and I think you really do get the sense of like she's not thinking clearly. Mm-hmm. This is rage. This is trauma.
Grief. I mean,
it's grief, trauma. It's just pouring out, and she's not thinking rationally. So the last like little struggle, I guess, is with Doctor Strange, Wong. And I guess Doctor Strange opens up the mirror dimension.
It's like a trap.
Yeah.
Almost. She steps on a thing and it immediately opens the mirror dimension and she's
it's
stuck.
like a spell. Yeah, it's like a pre-laid out spell, which is pretty sick. It doesn't really work.
Yeah. That's my thing. They're like, "Oh, yeah, we use the mirror dimension so that we don't mess with the actual world when we do our high-level spells." Yet everybody that we see put into it breaks out. Spider-Man broke out. Obviously, he had the sling already open, but he still got out.
Well, yeah, because Doctor Strange opened up a portal already.
Thanos punched a hole through it.
6 Infinity Stones, and he's Thanos.
Wanda just like, she's like, "Oh, mirrors? Okay, yeah, I can do that." And then she like goes through reflection.
I don't know what type of spell it is, but like she contorts her body and like just
like the Ring.
Yeah, basically.
It is so scary.
And like she pushes through the mirror dimension, and then she goes out a mirror in like the real world, and it's like it's terrifying how she like contorts her way out. And this is where I think we get to see a lot of Sam Raimi, because like as we know, like he did the Evil Dead movies, he did like the 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, and like every now and then you get to see hints, because like I think he has like a pretty good sense of like horror. He likes to add horror a little bits and pieces, and we get to see it on full display for the rest of this movie.
When we went to go see this in the movie theater, because this was before anybody even knew that Wanda was the villain, a kid went there. We like right behind us. There was a kid and her dad.
Like started crying.
Dude, she was like, "Dad,
Wanda's the bad guy."
Like Wanda was her favorite character.
Oh,
so
no.
they went to go see it, and now this kid's probably traumatized.
Well, what's the line in The Dark Knight?
Never seen it.
Bruh.
I don't think so.
Bruh. He's like, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And yeah. So that's kind of like, I guess like you said too, that Doctor Strange like shoots out these serpent things, but Wanda just kills them all.
Yeah, no.
and then knocks out Wong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hands off my boy.
This is why I think he has beast magic. Because
well, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. But like I don't think that's what the thing is for.
Yeah. You're probably right. But like the thing is we've never seen any other sorcerer use beast magic. So like that's what I don't like. They don't tell us these things. Who's the Minotaur? Why is there a Minotaur in Kamar-Taj? Why does he have this
I don't think a
magic?
movie needs to explain everything.
It doesn't have to.
Because it's showing us. That's how it's explaining it. Do you understand that?
It's showing us that he has it. It doesn't show us why he has it, how he got it.
The movie is showing us that he has it, so now we know he can use the ability. So now that we can see that he has the ability, now we know that he can do that magic.
I'm upset. I want to know why. That's my whole thing. With most movies, I just want to know why.
Well, good luck in superhero movies. Yeah, because most of the stuff is you have to have a fan. You have to be a fan and have previous knowledge. So, I don't know, pick up a comic book. So they're cornered in like this ancient room. Wong gets knocked out, and then America opens up another portal, and Doctor Strange grabs her, and they both go through, and they leave Wanda behind. So then they go to Universe 838.
I really like the transition here.
Yeah, we go through well, not all, but we go through quite a bit of, we go through like a dinosaur one, we go through one where they're all paint.
Yeah.
We go through one where it's like under the ocean, so like, is that universe is ocean? Are they all fish?
It's really cool.
It's like a little glimpse, but I think it's pretty cool about how, like, I think it's a little glimpse of how small our universe is, because everything else is infinite.
Yeah.
Kind of like another character says, time is like a box. And once you get outside of that box, then you realize how small the box really is.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Kang.
Oh, gotcha.
So he meets they look for like the Strange counterpart.
Yes.
In that universe. All they find is a statue that says he's dead fighting Thanos.
This is very interesting because we find out that the first rule of what is it? Not dimensional. Multiversal.
When traveling the multiverse,
you know nothing.
Know nothing.
He goes, why would you go on red?
Yeah, the stoplight go on red, and like she says that like most food is free, and like except this universe where she just steals. And we get to see Bruce Campbell cameo, which is fun. Because him and Sam Raimi are buddies.
He starts punching himself
for 3 weeks
because he grabbed Doctor Strange. He goes, "Don't touch me." Starts punching himself.
So they go to the Sanctum and they meet Mordo again, and Doctor Strange is a little hesitant because he's like, "Well, he tried to kill me in the last."
I mean, for good reason. Doctor Strange is a little.
So
iffy.
what's interesting though, Riley. So at the end of Doctor Strange, we saw him just leave.
Mordo.
Yeah, we saw him leave.
Yeah. And in the after credits scene,
and then
we saw him
he'd taken a power.
Steal power.
Did we ever see him try to kill Doctor Strange? So this happened off screen, maybe. So Mordo invites them to sit down for some tea, but it's drugged.
Yeah.
So
never trust.
They're trying to warn them about Scarlet Witch, but then Mordo's like, "Nah, Doctor Strange is the real bad guy of the multiverse." These guys know diddly.
Okay.
They're wrong on two fronts.
Yeah, one front they don't even know yet.
So they get to Strange and America. They are put in these boxes, and like it's a high-tech facility somewhere.
They do it for a good reason.
Yeah,
Really.
it's smart because like
They
as
say,
this Christine says,
Yeah.
they could have a sickness that we don't have. They could have your powers could be dangerous to ours. You
They're-
could cause an incursion.
they're what is it?
Oh, like radiation.
Yeah, they could be radioactive from their universe to this one, which
Yeah.
is a really good point.
And I think she mentions incursion here.
Yes.
Like it's not. They don't dive into it too much, but she says the word. And we'll find out what that means later.
Yes.
So, Mordo says, well, Doctor Strange first says, like, don't you guys have, like, we need a team. You guys need backup. Like, you have the Avengers? Do you have, like, S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, what do you have? And Mordo says, we have the Illuminati.
The Illuminati will see you now.
Ooh! So, for those who don't know, the Illuminati in the comic books, as it's made up of Doctor Strange, Namor,
Iron Man, Professor X,
sometimes Black Panther.
I'm trying
I
to
feel like
think.
there's somebody I'm forgetting.
Yeah. I think there is. I cannot.
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, yes.
So basically, they just make
and Mr. Fantastic.
Oh yeah. So they they're basically like the CIA of like the Avengers. They do things that like are kind of shady sometimes, but are like supposedly for the greater good. For example, that's how we get like Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. The Illuminati send him away in a ship because he's like too dangerous, and then he comes back super pissed off.
Well, I think the Illuminati kills his kids and his wife, so that's what.
Well,
starts
I
World
sort
War
of
Hulk.
inadvertently, yeah, the ship blows up. But yeah, so it's pretty cool that we get to see this universe's Illuminati,
Yes.
even if it's not ours.
Yeah.
So this team consists of Mordo, Captain Peggy Carter, who I guess in this universe took the serum instead of Steve Rogers, Blackagar Boltaton. So Black Bolt.
Which is really like this is the first time we get to see Black Bolt in the MCU.
Besides, like, what was it? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which
Was he in that?
I'm pretty sure.
He's definitely in Inhumans, which is
Oh, that's what it is. That's what
okay. That
Yeah. Kind of, I feel the same way about that show as I do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, what's its rating? Oh, canceled? That's okay.
Yeah. How many seasons? Oh, one? Okay. Yep, that's all I needed to
Captain Maria Rambeau,
Yes.
who was
know. Instead of... She is Captain Marvel instead of...
Carol Danvers.
yes, thank you. Goodness, I couldn't think of the name.
Reed Richards, who is played by
Michael.
oh my god,
No, not Michael.
that
From
is
The
Jim.
Office,
That
the
is
guy
Jim
from The
Hopper.
Office.
What is his name? Oh no. Oh no.
Oh goodness, I can't think of it. I'll look it up.
Jimothy Halper. John Krasinski.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't have to look up.
So he plays Reed Richards, which is really fun because like that was a fan cast for a long time that he should play Reed Richards. He does for a little bit. And Charles Xavier, who's played by
The one, the only,
what's his name?
him.
No, he's obviously a super famous actor who plays like Picard in like Star Trek. And it's the same character. It's the same guy from like
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. He's
Goodness.
also the same guy, same Professor X from like the previous
Yes.
X-Men movies. Which, yeah, I'm glad because like he's peak Professor X. So they explain to our Doctor Strange that their Doctor Strange took the Darkhold and used it in the battle against Thanos, where it looks like they kind of wrecked Thanos. Like,
Dude, they destroyed him.
and what's interesting, you see on his gauntlet that he doesn't have the Soul Stone, which is like
Yeah, you said like maybe in this universe he never had a Gamora.
no Gamora, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And also, we see Ultron bots everywhere. So in this universe, Ultron worked.
Yes.
So we'll see the implications of that a little bit later.
But also, if Ultron worked, there was never a Vision, which is interesting because Wanda in this universe still has her kids. Meaning...
Who's the dad?
She could find the dad in our universe. I mean, she just needs to find it.
So they believe that the greatest threat to the multiverse is a Doctor Strange, as our Scarlet Witch Wanda dreamwalks, which is a spell.
Also explain that.
Is a spell that you can use the Darkhold, and you obviously have to be like a pretty powerful sorcerer.
Yeah.
And you can take the body and mind of a person outside of in a different universe,
but it's
which is not cool.
It's corrosive to the soul.
Yeah, using the Darkhold at all takes a heavy toll. So she's doing that as they explain how they had one more enemy after Thanos, and that was their Doctor Strange. And do we get to see Black Bolt's power? He whispers, "I'm sorry," and like just eviscerates this Doctor Strange, which is so cool to see like Black Bolt's power, because like he is
overpowered,
one of the strongest like individuals in the comic books.
He has to live on the moon, because if he stubbed his toe and went, it would
Earth's gone.
It would flatten a block.
Yeah, he has to live in constant silence. So also we figure out in this universe that they have basically a map, sort of, that this Doctor Strange found to the Book of Ashanti, which is basically like
He also said a waypoint.
Yeah, which is basically like the antithesis to the Darkhold. Yeah. So this thing, Holy Book versus Bad Book. So
the battle of the books.
The battle of the books. Yeah, and they explain how their Doctor Strange had to die because he caused an incursion, which is basically just as he was jumping, as he was like
traveling between the multiverse.
He
in his dream walking.
The two universes started to like implode and like on each other. Not good.
No.
Meanwhile, so Wanda shows up and she just starts blowing stuff up, taking out Ultron bots, and I think Monica Rambeau says we can take care of your little witch.
No, you can't.
We get to really see it really reminds me, Wanda, of like a
Carrie.
Like, yeah, basically. Of like in a slasher movie, like The Killer, like a Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger. She's just like, she has like the oil
from all
on
of
her
robots.
face.
Yeah.
And she's just like slowly walking through, just blowing stuff up. And so the Illuminati jumps down, all except for Mordo. Yeah, he hangs back. What a wuss. And so
see Mr. Elastic. No, it's not Mr. Elastic. Mr. Fantastic.
He
confronts her and goes, "This is not what your children would want." And she goes, "Do you have kids?" He goes, "Yeah." Is her mother alive? Yeah. Well, somebody will be there to take care of them when you die.
Cold.
Like, oh my goodness.
And I'm guessing we get like a little bit of characterization here of like, because Mr. Fantastic is supposedly like one of the smartest individuals in
when he thinks.
Imagine. in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we've seen time and time again, when you're really smart, arrogance seems to be second nature. So he quite literally explains Black Bolt's powers.
He goes, "You see this guy? One word with his mouth and you're gone." And she goes, "What mouth?"
Bro.
All we had to do was not not do it.
As he was about to say something, she like covers his mouth, and then like, you know, he has to breathe, he has to speak, so like he does something, and like the whatever beam was about, it like pops out the side of his head and like kills him instantly, and I'm like, oh god. Mr. Fantastic goes to reach for her, and he just turns him into spaghetti. Or she just turns him into spaghetti, and
broken rubber bands, dude.
And then like pops his head off at the end, and it, oh my god. So then it's just Captain Carter and Captain Marvel, and
it's a pretty good fight, kind of.
For all of 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Captain Carter does land a hit, I guess, with the shield. And then she says, I can do this all day. Well, you know, I don't think you can, because literally a second later, she gets cut in half with her own shield. And I'm going to be honest, a little nitpick here in this fight. Monica Rambeau, she just gets like killed after like a beam struggle. She lands to the floor, and then Wanda drops like the statue and like crushes her, and you see her hand do like the fall thing when somebody dies underneath rubble. I kind of wish there would have been a gruesome death for her, because like the rest of the Illuminati go out
literally
brutally.
All of them. Because then Professor Xavier comes in, goes into her mind.
Yeah, which he's got to, how strong he is to like go into Wanda's mind. Like that's pretty cool. And oh yeah, before he leaves though, he offers the pretty cool line to Mordo about Doctor Strange, where he's like, just because someone stumbles and loses their way, it doesn't mean they can't get back up again. And I'm like, ooh, that's from X-Men Days of Future Past. Yeah, she, as he's in her mind, he's trying to save good Wanda from 838, and it's super sad because like her safe place is like her blown up house in Sokovia, and he's trying to pull her out, but evil Wanda's there, and like, you think in the real world it looks like he just got his neck snapped, but like she like ripped off his jaw and like his face like 2 different ways, and it's like
his brain. This is in his head.
Good Lord.
She snapped his brain, meaning that like he is brain dead.
And we just kind of, Doctor Strange is kind of doing like kung fu with Mordo, and like breaks free of his like depowering shackles.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of leaves Mordo in like this like pit in the Illuminati room.
To try to go get America.
And they reunite, and they take, they have Christine with them as well. And then they're running downstairs to where this universe Doctor Strange had like a vault to the Book of Ashanti. Yeah. And yeah, it's really weird because like in this door that like is the last barrier, yeah, he opens up the thing, and I don't know what it is, but like he tries to use a spell to like open this door, and it doesn't work.
Yeah. So I was thinking that it was just a releasing spell, and doing
anything that's trapped
caused the necklace to also open. But it don't work. It could have not been.
It don't work.
Yeah.
And like they see like there's little indention on like where the handle is, and it's
like a key.
Yeah, and it's the perfect fit for like his broken watch, which this Christina has kept from that Doctor Strange. It's like, oh. So they get in there. Wanda immediately follows them.
Oh yeah.
But I guess beforehand though, she's been doing like the limping and like the red eyes, and like, dude, she's a straight up like horror villain, and she looks spooky because like she's in shadow, but like you see her red eye, and like, yeah, it's
the oil now looks like blood. I mean, it is terrifying. The poor kid behind us in the movie theater.
Is my superhero the bad guy? So she's right behind them though, and she destroys the Book of Ashanti. Whoops.
She didn't destroy it. She destroyed the one page that had a star on it.
It's all gone. It's all on fire.
Oh, day.
It's all gone.
Okay.
That's why they don't use it anymore for the rest of the movie.
Oh.
So
Wanda uses America's power to throw America to Wanda.
she opens up a portal.
Oh, we totally missed what happened in our universe during all this.
Oh, right. As this is happening, Wong is like tied up.
Yeah.
And there's like well, I guess there's like a couple of survivors.
But one who can actually move.
Yeah. And she destroys the Darkhold in our universe. And she dies. Like, she burns to a crisp as she does that. I'm like, okay, good thing Wong didn't do that. Yeah, Wanda gets super pissed and threatens not to kill Wong, but the rest of his soldiers. Unless she takes him to another Darkhold. And Wong says, well, there's a place that this book was copied from, but nobody's ever been able to go there. And that's where Wong and Wanda go as this all multiverse stuff is happening. So yeah, 838 Wanda, who's possessed by our Wanda,
yes,
uses America to open up a portal to, I guess, 613.
616.
616. They're wrong. They send, she throws America into it, and then she gets out of that body and goes back to that universe.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, she
But before that, she throws Doctor Strange and Christine into a different one.
Yeah. And
this is where we really see what an incursion looks like.
Right. And we see it. What is this? The third or fourth? Yeah, third Doctor Strange that we've seen in this movie.
Yeah.
And what's kind of funny though, every multiverse Doctor Strange looks exactly the same, like their face, but then like multiverse Peter Parkers look like
it's
different actors. I get it, but like, it's just I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Huh. It was a different multiverse.
Yeah, different multiverse. So they get to that universe and they see the incursion, and I have so many questions about incursions that hopefully just through watching more movies I get answers. But I'm curious, like, do these, because we've seen like in previous shows how people have kept track of like timelines of like different universes. I wonder, like, when an incursion stops, does like that timeline stop, or are like those universes considered like dead? I don't know.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of the perfect timeline.
Yeah, I don't know. But they meet the guy who caused this incursion. They meet another Doctor Strange, and this guy's just fully embraced the Darkhold.
He's bad guy. He's bad guy,
and his magic is purple. Because he's evil. They has fight.
They have a music fight.
I think this is a really creative fight. They use like notes, and the notes that they use are the ones that you hear, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they're just throwing notes back at each other. They're like using lines as shields.
Yeah. To like write it onto paper and then throw it back. And then they both throw the same at the middle. And it starts like
it's so cool. Like a little ball of like energy of notes. And then like
our Doctor Strange,
the bad Doctor Strange is going to like basically like using the Force, I guess, to like to pull up the Darkhold. And Doctor Strange just takes like one note from like
a harp.
Oh,
it's so nice.
And like it's all silent, and then it touches it, and then it explodes and sends evil Doctor Strange
out a window,
flying out the window. And then like the gate with like the spikes that are outside, he lands on one of those.
Yeah. And then Christine like runs over to him like, "Oh no!"
And then she sees the third eye.
Oh, dude, the third eye is so crazy.
It's weird looking. Yeah, I heard a lot of people complaining about like that looked bad. Like I didn't think it looked horrible.
I didn't think so either. I mean,
Like, it looks goofy, sure.
Nothing worse than Wong flying.
I'm sure, yeah, it looks goofy, but yeah, it's a third eye in the middle of his forehead.
Yeah. How's it supposed to look, you know?
Like, we'll see another character that we'll talk about, like, it's comic accurate, but of course, yeah, it looks goofy.
Yeah.
So, what's Strange gonna do? He's in another universe. He doesn't have America. How's he gonna get to Earth 616?
He's gonna dream walk.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is so cool.
And then Christina says, well, don't you have, there has to be an alive, one of yourself alive in that universe. And he goes, who said they had to be alive? Yo, dude, I think it gets so much fun. Like, the use of, like, the different spells and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
So, yeah, the dead body that died in the very beginning of the movie that's in 616 wakes up, and it's our Doctor Strange impersonating that dead body. And
uses a sling ring to get to the mountain.
Yeah, whatever the copy of the Darkhold is.
And our Doctor Strange tells Christine, he goes, if they come to get me, please protect me. She goes, what do you mean?
The souls of the damned.
Because he's not supposed to be taking over dead bodies.
Yeah, dude. I think we're going towards, like, I think we're gonna see hell pretty soon, and, like, hopefully Mephisto, because
Definitely.
I think that'd be really cool as, like, a Doctor Strange villain.
Yeah.
But so, like, as that's happening, like, Wong tries to convince Wanda that, like, would your kids want this? And he tries to stop her, but she goes, they'll never know. And I'm like, that sounds exactly like what Thanos said. And she knocks Wong off the cliff, and, like, he tries to use, like, the rope and, like, the blade to, like, attach to something, but it fails. And, like, you see him fall, and I was like, no, they didn't. They didn't. But he's fine. He's just, like, knocked out on the cliff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's fine, but, like,
the souls of the damned start attacking Doctor Strange
in both
realities.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, they say, like, Doctor Strange, you're impersonating a dead body, is, like, you know, against
this'll damn your soul.
Some rules, like, or yeah. Christina uses, like,
some vase thing.
A vase full of light, or it, like, burns them away. I guess. Okay, cool. Well,
you said it was in the first movie.
Yeah, he picks it up in the first movie.
I don't remember it.
And he is able to, like, use them, and he doesn't submit to them. He uses them as the dead body.
That is so cool.
And he turns them into wings.
He creates his own cape. Dude, that is so cool.
And because, like, I guess we forgot to mention, Wanda has, like, these big, like, monstrous goons.
Yeah, like,
who also,
big orcs.
Yeah. Almost. And, like, they can use magic too. And, like, they're about to shoot this beam at Doctor Strange as he's flying. And then Wong, like, stabs one with the blade, like, through the head, and, like, it falls off, and he goes, take that. And then there's, like, 3 more of them.
They just start dropping rocks on him.
Instead of magic, they're just, you know what? Rocks. And then Wong's like, uh-oh. And then Strange flies over, blasts some dark magic, and, like, they all fall off, and Wong goes, Strange! And, like, he climbs up, and he's like, I don't even want to know. And then Wanda says, like, dream walking, you hypocrite. I'm like, Wanda,
you forced him to.
You're the one forcing everybody to break rules. And so they contain her for a little bit with the souls of the damned, and Wong, like, how strong Wanda is. The souls of the damned are surrounding her.
Wong is encasing her.
He has her in a spell, and she's still, like, breaking out.
And during this, Wong is telling Steven to take America's power and use it. But so Steven goes over to her and goes...
And she goes, I understand. It's okay. I'm like, okay.
All right, I guess so.
Yeah, this trope,
shows his character development in the movie.
This trope, it's not really this movie's fault. I've never liked this trope in any movie, where it's like somebody can't control their abilities, and then at the end they're like, just believe. And they're like, oh, okay. It's like, it doesn't feel earned in the slightest.
Yeah, but the talk that he had with her was kind of nice. It's like, you have put us in the exact position that we needed to be in every situation.
I guess, like, in this scenario, they're just saying that she just needed confidence for her powers.
Well, because she did break out of she broke out of that big box on her own. She punched a hole in it that's a star.
Because she was scared. So just be scared all the time.
Yeah,
boom.
I'm terrified all the time.
They say you manifest your fears. I'm terrified of Margot Robbie. So she starts to, Wanda breaks free and knocks Wong aside.
Yes.
And
I mean, clear, obviously, because she's Wanda.
Yeah. Those 4 monster goons are lucky that Doctor Strange was there, because Wong would have 4v1 soloed them all.
Okay.
So she goes like just punching with like the star power, punching Wanda, and she goes, and then Wanda goes, and then she starts to like fight it back because dude, she can't beat Wanda.
Yeah. Wanda starts like throwing fire at
and then
Steven.
She just like straight up just chokes her.
Yeah.
Oh, right. She threw the like almost like it was corruptive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because his arm just starts to like wither away.
Yeah. But America gives her what she wants.
She punches open a portal, and
as she's choking out America, it's in front of her children.
Yeah, and they're like, "Mommy," and she looks, and like the kids are scared, and she's like, "What have you done to me? Why am I a monster to them?" And the kids run away, and she goes, "I would never hurt you. I would never hurt anyone to get
as
to you."
As she just threw that universe is her across the room in front of the children.
And it takes, and the kids start throwing toys at her, and it's kind of fun because Elizabeth Olsen, who, I mean, I haven't said it yet, but she does a phenomenal job in this movie.
Oh yeah, she's terrifying. It's sad.
Sympathetic. Yeah. I wouldn't say I understand, but like, I guess I sort of...
You can see why she did
I see why. It like... I guess that means I understand. But like, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I understand, I guess. But as the kids are throwing the toys at her, this was a genuine reaction on set. Like, one of the toys hit her elbow, and she said, like, it actually hurt. So her, like, yelling at them was, like, genuine.
Which scared them even more.
So yeah, her kids run away crying, and it takes, I think this is probably the most powerful scene in this movie, is it takes her kids crying, like real kids in a different universe, to
realize,
I've messed up. This is the error of my ways. Because
that universe, comes over.
The whole thing that I've done this for, my kids, they hate what I've become. So I've really messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Wanda literally forgives herself.
Yeah. She comes over and goes, know that they'll be okay.
And that's enough. Ooh.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Damn.
That hurts. That hurts.
So America closes the portal, and Wanda's just kind of like beside herself on the ground. And Doctor Strange tells America to take Wong and get out of here. And Wanda says, I have to destroy the Darkhold so no one is ever tempted by it again.
In this and every universe.
And she
crushes the building.
She gives the look to Zombie Strange. Yeah, and destroys the building. So
the weird part is,
but as it's falling, okay.
Yeah.
As it's falling, there's like a little poof of magic, and I'm gonna say that she's not dead. I'm gonna say that she escaped. She teleported.
I think it's either that
Because
or that
in the
is
show-
it going into every universe.
In the show, when she's fighting Agatha, which we'll get to Agatha.
Who's that?
She does like a little
Magic power
little
thing.
spell thing,
Yeah.
and she like poofs away, and it's like it's like a little red mist stuff, and I'm like,
Interesting.
100% Wanda's not dead. Strange goes back to his regular body.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the dark hold there starts burning red.
So yeah, there's proof that she destroyed him in every universe, which I don't agree at all with obviously what Wanda did this entire movie, but trying to set things as right as she could in her last moment, that's all you can do as a superhero.
I guarantee she memorized some of the spells. Like, there's no way.
I wonder if that's how it works. Like, if you destroy the book, does it all go away? I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Probably not, though, because the Darkhold exacts a heavy toll, not only on the
We'll see,
universe, but its user.
Yeah. America finds him
Yes.
and brings him back to the universe they need to be, because now she can kind of control her power.
Yeah. And she's also learning magic. And she's struggling. And I love this where Doctor Strange goes, she needs to slow down and concentrate. And then Wong goes, that reminds me of another student I used to know. He's become the teacher.
And then he bows.
Oh, it's
The
ancient custom. And they talk about if they're happy, which I think is a nice scene between them too, because like I think it's a good scene for us too, just like every now and then just to ask yourself, are you happy? And I love Wong's answer. He's like, sometimes I often do think about my other selves in different universes and if they have it better than I do. But then I'm grateful to be in this universe, even with all its trepidations. I'm like, yeah, because as much as the world can suck sometimes, it's pretty good also.
Yeah.
So yeah, Comertage is rebuilding. And so he returns to his house and repairs the watch, the like that shattered watch that, you know, reminded him of his injury, reminded him of his messed up past, his tragic love interest.
It's truly him moving on.
He fixes it. Yeah, it's a new case, and he's moving on. Things are looking up, and then he falls to the ground screaming, and a third eye pops out of his forehead.
Because he was the last one to use the Darkhold. So cool.
Yeah. So, what does that mean? Who knows? We'll find out. And then mid-credit scene, Doctor Strange is walking down the street again, and then a sorceress, who's played by Charlize Theron, I think is her name.
No idea.
You watched Mad Max, right?
Nope. I think we watched it together. I just don't remember any of it.
This guy.
If I don't have to remember it, I'm not going to remember it.
She clearly. She's also a pretty famous actor, but she shows up and tells him about Strange. You caused an incursion. Let's go fix it. And she has a sword, and she just like slices open like time and space
Into like Dormammu's
from the first
place. Yeah.
And
when I saw that in the movie theaters, I'm like, oh, there's something going on.
to the dark dimension, and they walk in, and like in the comic books, I don't remember her name, but like they're like married in the comic books in some iteration. So maybe he'll get his love interest after all.
Nice.
So that's how the movie ends. And
Then there's the post-credit scene of
which one's that?
What's his name? The pizza ball guy.
Oh, played by Bruce Campbell. He finally stops punching himself.
And he goes, "It's over," and the movie ends. I thought that was really, really cute. Like, just like that's actually the ending of the whole movie.
So yeah, that's Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. We're in an era now, I think, of Marvel movies where it just gets crapped on if it's not Endgame.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that's obviously that's
it's
we
sort
now
of
have to
it's sort of understandable but I think it's somewhat unfair because it's not Endgame. Like that was a very specific movie, which was the culmination of 10 years of storytelling.
Right.
This, we're kind of starting over again in a way, where we're telling individual stories again, building up again. So I don't think it's fair to like really compare it to Endgame because Endgame is like up here, like it's amazing. But
I'm afraid that the next phases are going to be too confusing, and they're going to lose a lot of their audience. Like bringing in the multiverse,
I would assume
and
it would be I would assume they would lose people who are not like up to speed with Marvel, but that's not Marvel's fault.
right.
But I think this movie, another movie that we recently saw, Shang-Chi, and then a couple others. I think this new phase 5, right?
Yes. This is still technically part of Phase 4. The movie that we went to go see recently is the beginning of Phase 5.
Are you sure?
Yes. It was 20 something to 20 something else, and that's like the beginning of the phase. Because the end of Phase 3 was Endgame, which I thought was really interesting. So Phase 4 has, honestly, in my opinion, was a complete disappointment. It had all the shows that had nothing to do with anything that we had previously established or don't have anything to do with the movies that were coming out. And I was like, okay, how did we go from being everything was intertwined to absolutely no storyline carrying through?
Oh, it's true. Okay. I think that. Yeah, I would tend to agree that was Phase 4's problem. That it seemed, disconnected. I mean, a lot of the stories were still really cool.
Yeah.
Like we'll talk about some.
I agree 100%.
But yeah, I see what you mean. How it doesn't feel like it's a cinematic universe, which I don't know. We'll talk more about. I think later.
If we start doing the cinematic multiverse, I'm gonna be upset.
I think we're already here, bud.
Oh
no! But I think I'll talk more. We'll probably talk more about that later. Why I think it's maybe not that big of an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. This one is. I think it's pretty fun. It doubles like previous. Like I think the stakes, the action, the actors, I think are all just better than the first Doctor Strange movie.
Definitely.
And it got crapped on for all sorts of different reasons that were just, I think, are just silly.
Yeah, it was mainly because we went from the funny movies into this actual like horror-esque movie.
I think that was some of it. Yeah, like where are the jokes? And like I remember that complaint too with like when we saw the Batman with like Robert Pattinson, people were like, "Where are the jokes?" And I'm like, it's not.
It's Batman. I mean,
and there were jokes in that movie. It's just, Thumb Drive, that was hilarious. But I think but at the same time, I'll say this quickly because we probably got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But I think if you complain about too many jokes in a Marvel movie, that's how it's always been.
Right.
2008 Iron Man, there were lots of jokes in that movie, and that's how has been, and that's how it's gonna be. So like, if you don't have to go to the movie. But that's just how it is. Like Marvel has always been somewhat lighter than DC, and that's how it's gonna be.
Yep. So how would you rate the movie?
This one was fine. I would probably go around 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah, just above average.
I think I'd go 7 or 8 because I really like to change the shift in like from funny to horror, like changing the genre of the actual movie. Like it's a superhero horror movie, which we don't get very often.
I like that too when they add another genre into it.
Yeah. But I'd give it like a 7 or an 8.
Like speaking of that, like Captain America Winter Soldier, like that was a superhero like spy mystery movie.
Yeah.
Like it was Yeah, it was pretty cool.
When they add that extra layer, it really makes it like a more dense movie.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's all we really have to say.
All right. Well, that is going to conclude our podcast for today. Thank you all for listening. This has been the Silver Screen Shenanigans podcast, and we hope to see you next time.